A new campaign would eliminate bilingual education. The debate begins over how to teach more than 1 million California students with limited English. Welcome to Life and Times. This is my co-host, Monica Lozano. She's the editor of La Opinión, the nation's largest Spanish language newspaper.
And my co-host is Hugh Hewitt, attorney, author, and law professor.
Later, Monica will talk with human rights activist Rigoberta Menchú about the peace accords that have brought an end to 35 years of civil war in Guatemala.
But first, how do we teach children who don't speak English? Do we move them gradually from education in their own language into English classes, the bilingual approach, or immerse them completely in English-only instruction?
In California, the numbers are staggering. More than 1 million students speak more than 100 different languages. Critics say that bilingual education is an abject failure. They're pushing to eliminate or at least reform the process. We'll be back to discuss this controversy, but first, a background report from Val Zabala.
It's a typical day at Cahuenga Elementary School. The school is in the heart of a neighborhood of immigrants in central Los Angeles.
Okay, muy bien. Gracias, Lisette. ¿Quiere usted, Jess? Okay, el último, Jess.
Yo ayer terminé mi tarea y después...
These first graders are among 1.3 million California students who speak little or no English. That's 1/4 of all the state's public school children. The teacher's goal is to make students fluent in English without sacrificing the rest of their education.
Okay, ¿quién me puede decir cuál es el título de la historia? Okay.
The state's current strategy is bilingual education. The idea is to teach reading, math, and social studies in students' native languages. They learn English in a separate class. Eventually, they will be able to speak and study all subjects in English without falling behind. In some classes, it's worked.
Get them out of the way is more like it.
These fifth graders are a case in point.
I'm proud of myself because when I came here, first I only spoke Spanish. Now I'm in a high book.
When I first came here, I learned Spanish, and then during the vacations in 3rd grade, I started reading English books.
For over 20 years, the state has focused on bilingual education. Now these programs are under attack. Critics note each year only 6% of students in bilingual programs move into mainstream classes. The state fails to assess how well bilingual programs actually work. And a national survey of Latino parents showed 81% wanted their children taught in English. Defenders of bilingual education, meanwhile, argue the state underfunds bilingual education. Only 30% of students who need bilingual classes are in them. And the state has only 10,000 of the 34,000 fully qualified bilingual teachers it needs.
At this school, we are training children to go to college.
Now some parents of English learners have joined the debate. These Cahuenga Elementary parents accept bilingual education. They are here to learn how they can help their children succeed. But last year, at another Los Angeles school, immigrant parents staged a boycott demanding their children be taught in English. The current conflict over bilingual education is becoming more intense, but all sides agree on one point. If students are to succeed, they must know English and know it well.
So how should we teach children who are not fluent in English? Two major reforms are now gaining momentum. One is in the state legislature, where a proposed law would give local school districts the power to decide if they want to continue or eliminate bilingual programs. And last month on the initiative front, English-only advocates launched a statewide campaign to eliminate current bilingual education.
Joining us now is the chairman of that campaign, Ron Unz. His group is called English for the Children. And Sylvia Argueta is the staff attorney for MALDEF. This is the Mexican-American Legal Defense and Education Fund. MALDEF is a very strong supporter of bilingual education programs. First question will go to you, Ron Unz. Before we get to the merits of the initiative, I can only think that many people are looking here and saying, you're very wealthy, you're an Anglo, you're a former conservative candidate for governor in the Republican Party. Why should parents of Latino children especially trust you to run an initiative campaign like this?
Well, they don't necessarily trust me, but they trust the issue. It's very clear that the parents of these children want them to learn English as quickly as possible. Most of them realize the current system isn't working, and the best way to learn English is to be taught English, and that's what this initiative is about.
Some dispute the assertion that they agree with that. Sylvia, is that in fact the case?
Absolutely. I think what's important is, and what is getting lost in the debate is that, of course, the parents want their children to learn English. The real question should be, how are we going to teach them English? Not so much that when and where. Of course everyone wants. MALDEF is a strong supporter of children learning English. Everyone is. It would be foolish not to be.
So, Sylvia, just to follow up on that then, if there is a problem with bilingual education programs as they're currently implemented, what sorts of solutions have you proposed that would in fact be an alternative to this initiative?
MALDEF has been working in the legislature lobbying for changes in the current bills that are before the Assembly. The Albert Firestone bill is one of those bills that we have that promotes a change in the structure of bilingual education.
That's the bill that gives school districts the right to design their own programs, correct?
Correct. That's that program, and we have been lobbying for certain changes to that bill because we still believe that primary education instruction is important and should be a component of bilingual instruction, not the sole component, but a component.
Hey, Ron Unz,